Desiree Martin.
Good morning.
She's Miss Chavis County.
Great. Go ahead.
Good morning, Desiree. I have your first question. You've got a platform relating to health. Most agree that healthy nutrition should be a part of the educational process. What's your opinion of fast food restaurants being a school lunch option?
Fast food restaurants should not be a school lunch option. The school lunch program, the public school lunch program, is actually in desperate need of reworking, revamping. We're feeding American kids food that has not passed USDA inspection. There's beef and dairy products going to these kids, and there's vending machines in school. And so fast food restaurants would only be an addition to a problem that's already in existence.
What's the solution?
The solution needs to be total reform. And it needs to start, I think it would be better to start with children, because I think it's easier to change a child's diet than it is an adult's, because telling an American how to eat is a challenge. I can tell you that from experience. It's been my platform, and it was my master's thesis, so I've just published something about this. But it needs to have total reform, and we need to go in and we need to offer them foods that are nutritionally dense.
There are some studies that have shown that there are higher levels of obesity in areas where the poverty level is actually also higher. How do you feel about people that say that people are overweight because they are poor?
That is not necessarily true. Now, fast food happens to be cheap, which is what contributes to that problem more than anything else. However, it is possible to eat a healthy diet on a low budget. It is possible. But we have problems where, if you saw the film Food Inc., there was a family in there where both the parents had diabetes, the children were already pre-diabetic, and they thought, do we need to spend the money on health foods, or do we need to spend it on our diabetes medication? And so they're looking at that option. The best thing in a wonderful world would be to prevent these problems, but sometimes we have to go in and reverse it. But it is possible to eat healthfully. You don't always have to have organic everything, so you can do it on a low budget. But no, it is not a fair statement to say that, because there's more underlying issues there.
Desiree, our First Lady is really into vegetable gardening and eating healthy. What type of an impact do you think she will truly have on our nation?
I'm hoping it's a good one. She has been quoted when approached about the obesity crisis. She has said, eat for health. And that has been her statement to the press, and she is attacking it dead on. And that is her, as the First Lady, her official platform is childhood obesity. So that just goes to show what a relevant issue and platform this is if the First Lady is addressing it. So yeah, she's going in, and she has been in Newsweek, the cover of Newsweek this year, and she was addressing that issue. And the gardening is fantastic, because you want to talk about eating cheaply. Grow your own garden, and you have all your own produce. You know exactly where it came from. You don't have to worry about contamination, and it's organic right then and there, and that's a great deal. So I'm hoping that it's really taking root, and I think it is, because she's very passionate about it, and she's been campaigning, and we see it in the media. So I'm glad you bring that up, because I'm ecstatic about her taking that on as a platform.
How much do you think the government is responsible for the problems people are facing with poor nutrition education, poor nutrition in the schools? Is it them, or is it the society that wants a quick fix right now?
It's both. It's a little bit of both. I actually had a committee member on my thesis committee ask me that same question, and he thought that my thesis needed reworked because he didn't think an individual could make a change. But if we just threw our hands in the air and said, oh, well, you know, because of the government institutions that are providing us with these fast food and these lunch programs and these food programs, we can't do anything about it. If you say that, you're just being helpless, and then nothing will ever get done. I believe an individual can make a difference, and that's where it needs to start, with the individual. And then, I mean, the way America is, it's a democracy. So if it catches on and each individual starts changing, we gradually change society, and then the government will follow suit, because typically we hope that in democracy that reflects what the people want.
How soon do you think it'll be before we have a woman president?
Woo! I don't know. If you look at this past election, okay, we had Hillary Clinton and we had Barack Obama, and there were a lot of people that were opposed to Barack Obama because of his race, yet because of how the election turned out, it seemed even the people that were opposed to that were still more ready to have an African-American male than they were a Caucasian female. So looking at that, it makes me think it's not going to be for a while yet. So
Can Sarah Palin do it?
I think she could have, maybe This time last year, I would have said a definite yes. Now, I'm not exactly sure. There's such a mixed opinion about her, but I mean, it would be a good time for it because some people, it's a great time to go in and have something totally do a 360 from what people are currently unhappy with. So, it would be timing. The timing would have to be absolutely perfect, I think, for that to be successful. But I think she definitely has the passion behind that to have what it takes.
I see that you're in broadcasting. Who would your dream interview be and why?
Ooh, probably on the Today Show, and I'd probably want to talk with Matt Lauer because he's pretty down to earth, and I would like him to speak with me. Do you mean who would I like to interview? Okay, I'm sorry, I took that the wrong way. Oh, goodness. Probably Sarah Palin, actually. I mean, you just mentioned that, but she's a very, very strong woman, and she's faced a lot of adversity in the media, and coming from a media background, I know how tough that can be, because I've been on the opposite side of that. So I would really like to speak with her.
What would your first question be?
I would ask her, how do you keep going? Because I mean, there was a time, I mean, she stepped back from being governor and, the retirement and everything, and she took a step away from that, and having a family, I can see her reasons for that. So, what is it that pushes her on? I would like to know where her drive and motivation comes from, because you have to have a lot of it, especially, I mean, I don't have children, obviously, but when your daughter's attacked like that, I mean, how do you come back from that and move on? I'd like to know.
One of the things that we see now with the news is instant analysis of any political figure and anything they say, almost before they've left the podium. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing in helping Americans formulate their opinions?
I think it tends to do more harm than good, because there's a lot of people out there, and it's sad to say, but they don't form their own opinions, and they just base what they know off what the media says. And I mean, I don't want to bash the media because that's a big part of my background, and I've been a reporter, and it is an honorable profession if you live up to the standards that you're supposed to uphold. However, there are a lot of people that just will feed off of that, and because of what the press said or what you saw on CNN or Fox, that's gospel, and that's not necessarily true. So I think it's good to get discussions going and get you thinking, but you don't always need to take that at face value. You need to analyze it and figure out your own opinions and think for yourself.
One of the hottest ethical issues for journalists is where to draw the line between the individual's right to privacy and the public's right to know. What's your opinion on this issue?
That's a tough one. In Philosophical Foundations of Media, which was a graduate course I took, we had this discussion, and a lot of people, very mixed emotions about that. I think in this country, because of our democracy and because of what we're founded on, the public has a right to know. And 9 times out of 10, I will go with that wins out. However, I'm also a big promoter of personal privacy, and there are some things that do not need to be discussed in the public eye. But what you do in private does affect what you do in other areas of your life, because I mean, there's the old saying, character is what you are when no one's looking. So there are things, some private things that, the public needs to know about so that they can have an opinion about an issue or a person.
Under the current administration, the space program is in jeopardy. Do you think that the USA belongs in space?
Yeah, I do, and I think that's more of a patriotic pride answer than anything else. I mean, in my lifetime, I haven't seen it, but there was the race for space. I mean, here's Russia and here's the United States, and I think it promotes healthy competition, it promotes education, it gets people excited, and with all the other negativity that's out there, that's something that I think kind of gives people hope and just gives you pride for your country.
You talk about in your resume here that the breakdown of the family is having a great impact on the generation. You view what is causing that?
Well, the divorce rate is obviously very high. We have also issues like homosexuality, and families are falling apart, and you don't normally, I mean, you talk to people and it's not common anymore to their parents are still married, they have siblings, they're not from a broken home. That's rare to find that. And Focus on the Family is a program that I really, really
Desiree,
like.
I'm sorry to cut you off,
Oh,
but
okay.
we are actually all done
Okay.
with our time. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us that we haven't uncovered?
Well, as Miss Travis County, I want to formally invite you all to the UFO Festival, which takes place in Roswell, July 1st through 4th. So I wouldn't be a good title holder if I didn't invite you to that. And also, regardless of this competition, how it turns out or anything like that, really look into my platform because, it's not so big right now, but I think it's taking ground and making a move in the right direction. But really, for your personal health, there's probably no one in here who hasn't had themselves or knows someone who has had heart disease, cancer, diabetes, or stroke. And that does not have to be a normal mode of death or lifestyle in America. We can change that. Thank you very much.
That's fine.
Thanks. See you tonight. Thanks, Stacy.